ends, a left will be made. Now, this is my 3rd year, everyone, for CIGARAWeen doing this trek. But we're going to do something a little different this time. I will not be getting out, but I am only going to be here to feel the vibration, and then from there, roll out. So it's going to be different this time. So as you can tell, you could easily miss it because there are no markers at the family plot. So I know that once I go around the curve, that we'll be looking to the right. And here it is. Like this time, we're not gonna miss it at all. So it's grown up a lot, right? But what I think I'm gonna do is ride it on down instead of doing a 3-point because it's so narrow. And it's right in the nook of the curve. So we still have some daylight. And the last time that I did this, saw a truck. And then when I looked back, get that please, I have my assistant with me. The last time I did that, I need to turn around. So what I'm gonna do is do a U-turn and then do a turnaround because it's like, again, it's so narrow that you want to be in the direction to leave out. So welcome everyone to CIGARAWeen. And this road is definitely like a enchanted forest. And so a lot of times people love to come in the day. It's just that I had so much to do that it was hard for me to come during the daylight. But this is even better because it's just a little bit spooky. But we do have the firearms on deck as always, like I travel. And it seems this time around that it's a little more unkept than usual. But it's good to turn around facing going outward than inside. Okay, so here we are. And I'm just gonna stay on the road in case somebody comes. But it has grown up a lot. And we're gonna turn this around to me. So hello everyone. We are back at the April Ellison family plot. Now look, when I did this for Vlogtober, people were being very controversial on whether or not he was a hard taskmaster, hard slave master, and all of that. That is not up for debate with me because you have so many people who may do like an urban myth type of vibration. And urban myths, they take on a life of their own. But because my family had some of the similarities, and when we look at the genealogy, like some of his descendants merged in with mine through marriage and all of that. April William Ellison was a slave. And if you look at the comments on some of my recent haunts here, this is the 3rd time me doing this. He was fathered by the slave master. That is nothing new when you're talking about slavery. A lot of that happened. But indeed, one drop rule, man of color, period, Negro. But what some census takers would do, they would either put Negro on the census of these children born to the slave master and a slave, and they would deem them mulatto, or I love steeples. My grandmother loves steeples as well. Okay, everyone. This has been a beautiful, quick trip up in the high hills of South Carolina. And I hope that you enjoyed this moment. There will be more adventurous times to come. And that's it. So for the third time, a lot of activity on the walkie-talkie. And I love exploring. And I'm going to cut this off. I love history. Many people had to do what they had to do. Underground railroads, obtaining your freedom, and through all of that. In my family, as I said, which was not uncommon, my 6th generation grandfather was a slave, my 5th generation grandfather was a slave. My 6th generation grandfather was a slave master. And he gave my 5th generation grandfather, his son, real estate. And from there, his son saw his freedom. My 4th generation grandfather, my 5th generation grandfather, who was the son of a slave, deemed mulatto, as well as my 4th generation grandfather, deemed mulatto. The 4th generation grandfather turned the $300 worth of real estate, parlayed it way up, and he worked for himself. His wife stayed at home with the children. He did not have his wife working in any homes or anything like that. So, again, a lot of people can attest to this type of scenario where the slave master would have some type of affinity of their children. And they kept really great records on my 5th generation grandfather. And so from there, he never saw his freedom, but he had a more easier way of life than some of the other slaves because the slave master had more affinity toward his child. And I was watching Lionel Richie and others who also want to know their roots. And Lionel Richie has almost the same story as well as some others where these mulatto children were left real estate and educated by the slave master, their father. And that's just the way that life can be. And so you can't change history. It is what it is, and you go from there. Thanks for locking in to my vlogoween, my cigarween. And more to come. Stay safe, everyone. Peace and love.